Manga-Waido.
Hi, I'm Haru Fukuzawa. Just turned 28. Back in school, I was really into kendo. After I graduated, I joined a major sporting good manufacturer, and that's where I met my current husband, Yusuke Ohara. I was working on a project to build a new sports center, and Yusuke was the lead architect working on the job. After working and meeting numerous times during the project, we hit it off. I was gradually drawn to his honesty and his work ethics, and he was good-looking too. Then, one day when the sports center was complete and we were there for the grand opening,
I really don't want to end this all here. Would it be possible to continue seeing each other?
I was overjoyed at his proposal. We started seeing each other, and after a while, we started thinking about getting married. I had already introduced him to my folks, and now it was my turn to go and meet his. Wow, that sure is a big house.
Yeah, well, my dad likes to show off. We really don't need such a huge house. We had it rebuilt a few years ago. He was adamant about making it big. He always wanted a place like this.
Your father is the president of a construction company, right?
Yeah, that's right. Actually, my grandfather started it, and then my father took over after he died. As soon as he took over, he built this house. I was okay with the old place. I'm a little worried about him, to be honest.
Yusuke had mentioned that he quarreled with his dad every now and then about just that. I wonder if he'll be okay with us getting married. I'm pleased to meet you. I'm Haru Fukuzawa. I'm so glad you're here. Please, make yourself at home.
Please, don't keep standing. Have a seat there, on that leather sofa. I had it specially made, you know. It was very expensive. I'm sure it's very comfortable.
Thank you so much. Wow, you're right. This is very comfortable.
Yeah, right? All the furniture here is expensive. I don't skimp on such things. Always the best for me.
Okay, come on, Dad. Enough of your expensive furniture. You're boring her. Haru's here to visit you guys, not to hear all this big talk.
I'm not boasting if that's what you mean. This is my way of introducing myself is all. And so, Haru, what's your father do? Is he just an average office worker?
No, my father is currently a college professor.
Oh, really? A college professor, huh?
Oh, really? That's wonderful! You must be proud of your father.
Yeah, well, a very prestigious job, but I hear colleges are not getting funded recently, and there are a lot of colleges closing. There's not much money in it. So even if he's a professor, I bet his take-home pay is minimal.
I'm not sure how much my father makes.
Oh, come on, Dad, knock it off, would you? That's not a very nice thing to ask.
What? What do you mean? I have to ask these questions. You guys get married, and we're family. It's an important point.
Yeah, well, we don't have to talk about it now.
Come on, you two, relax, would you? I'm more interested in Haru than her father. You're working at a sporting goods manufacturer, isn't that right? Yes, that's right. I'm working in the events and new projects department. Are you at all interested in sports? Yes, I've been doing kendo since I was a kid. I practice regularly, if I have the time, that is.
You're a woman. Why do you have to work out? What's the use? You should be taking cooking lessons or something like sewing.
Yeah, right. I plan to get better at cooking.
And I take it you'll be quitting your job as soon as you get married, right?
Pardon me?
Come on, Dad, don't start! That's none of your business!
Son, don't tell me you can't make it unless your wife works.
It's not about my job or how much I make, for God's sake!
If you're worried about your pay, you can always join my company. It's not too late, you know. I'll make you an executive right away. You can take over someday.
I have no intention of relying on you, Dad. I want to be successful on my own merits. The rest of the day was just my dad giving us a hard time, or him boasting about all his possessions. It was getting a bit tedious, to be honest. My mom's final words when we were leaving gave us a little reprieve, I suppose.
I'm sorry for making you feel uncomfortable. He gets like that sometimes. He's got pride, of course. Please, just ignore what he said. He's like a little kid. I'm so sorry. No, I didn't mind at all. I'm just glad I was able to meet you. Yes, likewise. Take care of Yusuke, would you? He's so fond of you. Well, at least we got their blessing for marriage, so we started making plans for it all. We figure we'd invite around 50 people in all. But then, after we informed Yusuke's father about it, he was not at all that happy. He said he wanted to invite people from work and insisted on inviting about 100 people and to have the ceremony at one of the major hotels in Tokyo. We said we didn't have that kind of budget, but he insisted on paying, which he said gives him the right to invite however many people he wants, and of course would select the hotel where the reception would be held.
This is our wedding, Dad! We want to do as we please, and invite the people we want! Stay out of this, would you, Dad?
If you won't do as I say, well, I'm sorry, but your mom and I will not be attending your wedding. If the groom's parents don't attend, it sure wouldn't look good for you. Haru's father is a professor, right? It sure would be upsetting for them, I bet.
We couldn't come to an agreement that day, so we left it at that and decided to discuss it later. What do we do? Do we agree to his demands or what?
Yeah, if we don't agree, he may just go ahead and boycott our wedding. To be honest, I'm not that concerned if Dad doesn't want to attend. It's my mom I'm worried about. She was really looking forward to this.
Yeah, I get it. I don't really want to just go along with your dad, but... Oh well, let's just agree. I'm not really concerned about where to have the reception anyways.
Yeah, you may be right. Maybe that's the only way. Sorry to put you through this, Haru.
On the next day, we met our father to discuss the wedding.
What do you think? Like it? Pretty nice hotel, huh? I'm planning on holding your reception here. We won't have a problem inviting 100 or even 200 people to this hotel.
All we could do was stay silent and just nod in agreement.
What kind of people do you plan on inviting to the wedding?
Well, my friends and relatives and some people from work.
And how many of them are company presidents or CEOs?
There won't be any presidents or CEOs as far as I know.
You mean to tell me that you aren't even inviting one company president?
I don't see why we have to invite company presidents or CEOs. What's that got to do with anything, Dad?
Well, the people I deal with are very important folks. There are a number of executives and company CEOs that I work with. It would be extremely embarrassing if the bride's family can't even invite one company president. People talk, you know.
This is all so silly. What's the purpose of a wedding, for Pete's sake?
There are family relations to consider, you know? Don't you even know that, son?
I was quiet up till then, but I had had enough. I couldn't stay silent any longer. Okay, I see what you mean. You want some big shot to attend the wedding, is that it? If that's what you want, Okay, I'll invite a real heavy hitter for you then.
Oh yeah? A heavy hitter, huh? Yeah, right. Wonder who this big shot's gonna be.
Well, let's leave it a big surprise, why don't we?
Yeah, alright. Surprise me then. I look forward to the wedding day.
Then, on the day of the wedding,
So, what do you think? Pretty nice reception hall, huh? I use this hotel quite often with my business dealings.
my dad was the same with my folks, boasting about one thing or another.
Oh, really? Yes, a lovely hotel.
Oh yeah, and about the cost of the wedding. I just checked with the office. The room and all the flowers and decorations and such, the total cost was really over the top. The cost of the dinner is quite high too, so I figured it would be normal to split the cost between the families. Don't you agree?
Hold on a second, Dad. Am I hearing you right? You said you would pay for everything. That's why we agreed to your demands.
Yeah, well, I could do that, but then again, I figured they wouldn't feel good about that, so
Honey, you said you would pay. Why bring this up on the wedding day? Please, we don't mind. I agree completely. We'll pay our share of the wedding.
Oh, really? The total is quite a bit, you know. If you can't pay it, I can handle it now, and you can pay me back later.
No, that's okay. Thanks for the offer. We can handle it.
Yes, we had no intention of having you paid for the whole thing. Rest assured. Please, you really don't have to. I can handle it if it's a burden. I mean, a professor's pay is not all that great, right? Yes, right. If you can't pay, just say so. I'll handle it, no problem.
Dad, would you stop? What's this silly game you're playing? Just stop, would you? I'm so sorry. He said he would pay the whole thing from the start. I don't know what game he's playing. Please forgive us for his rudeness.
Why the hell are you apologizing? All I'm saying is that if they admit they can't pay, I'll pay the entire fee, no problem.
Even here, he's not satisfied unless he gets the upper hand. His pride is stronger than I thought. That's when someone walked into the room.
Hey, Haru. Sorry to be late.
Oh, Mr. Saito, thanks so much for coming. We've been waiting for you.
I know you're busy, sir. Thanks so much for coming. It's been a while, Mr. Saito.
Yes, well, I actually arrived earlier, but as I was about to enter, you were discussing something. Seemed important, so I didn't come in. But I had to come in. It seemed it was getting heated. And so, it was you who was being rude to my friends, wasn't it?
Yusuke's father just stood there with his mouth agape, unable to utter a word.
Is this guy... No way! It can't be!
Yes, that's right. This is him, Mr. Saito. Mr. Saito was a top government minister for many years. In other words, he's someone Yasuke's father would be really impressed with. A so-called big shot, if you will. He was also a sensei at my college kendo club. He would often attend our events and training sessions. He often visits the kendo club I currently go to and has even attended some of my matches. So, I guess you can say we're pretty close. Almost like family.
I really didn't expect to see you here, Mr. Saito. It really is an honor. Let me give you my name card. I'm the groom's father. I'm told you run a construction company, one of the minor firms that we employ at our company. Yes, that's right. I was quite astounded to meet you here, Mr. Saito. Such a pleasure.
Mr. Saito is currently CEO of a major industrial corporation, which uses Yusuke's dad's construction company on some minor projects. Anyway, for Yusuke's father, Mr. Saito is like some god figure, not quite in his league.
I'm so fortunate to be able to meet you, sir. I hope we can maintain a close relationship going forward. Yeah, right. But please, don't misunderstand. I came here today for Haru, as a member of her kendo club back in college. And what you were saying to them earlier, I must say I was a little offended by how you were treating them. Yes, well, I was only trying to... I cannot understand the way you treated them. What you said to them was despicable, not to mention short-sighted and untrue. To be honest, I cannot let something like that pass.
It was then that Yusuke stepped forward and bowed deeply before Mr. Saito.
Pleased to meet you, sir. I'm Yusuke Ohara. I'm the groom. Please accept my sincere apologies on behalf of my father. It was inexcusable of him.
So, you're Haru's husband-to-be, huh? So that man, he's going to be your father-in-law, I see. Haru, are you sure you're doing the right thing? That was an unconscionable thing he said. Mr. Saito, please! It was just a big misunderstanding is all! If it was a misunderstanding, as you say, explain to me what you meant by it. Why treat Haru's parents like that? Shaming them like you did. Explain that to me, Mr. Ohara!
Please, take it easy on him. I think he's had enough. You haven't changed one bit. You always get so worked up.
Yes, sorry. I knew I get a bit fired up when it comes to my friends getting mistreated.
In fact, my mother and Mr. Saito went to college together, and they were both in the kendo club, so they've known each other for years. My mom was the manager of the kendo club back then. Even now, Mr. Saito has a deep respect for my mom. Because my mom intervened, she was able to extinguish the flame before it got too out of hand, and Yusuke's dad seemed subdued. Mr. Saito was elected to give a speech, which he's quite good at. The guests were captivated by his charm and humor, but as a result, when Yusuke's dad's guests came to speak, he learned that his turn had been drastically shortened at the last minute. The guests were a bit agitated by the sudden mishap, but the MC expertly calmed people down, and the reception went without a hitch until its conclusion. The reception ended, and we were all gathered at the entrance to see off the guests when the guest that was giving that shorted speech was quarreling with Yusuke's dad.
Mr. Ohara! You're the one who begged me to make a speech, and I took it upon myself to do the best I could! But at the last minute, you drastically shortened it? What's the meaning of this? What the hell is this?
Can you see that he's a big-time former government minister and CEO of a major client? I had to give him priority!
So you're saying he's better than me? Is that it? That I'm just a stepping stone for you to move your own life forward? That's the most insulting thing I've ever heard! I don't want to do business with you ever again! That's it!
Oh yeah? Well, no loss there! Good riddance!
Boy, is Yusuke really related to that guy? Yusuke ran after the guy and bowed to him, apologizing on behalf of his father. I felt so sorry for Yusuke, always covering for his dad. Although the wedding started off like this, our life together got off to a promising start, at least for now. But unfortunately, Yusuke's dad would call practically every day. He seemed concerned about the encounter with Mr. Saito.
Could you set up a meeting with him? I want to apologize again!
But we weren't in a position to ask Mr. Saito for any favors. He is a busy man as it is, so we refused every time he called, but he was persistent. He even came to our house in the wee hours of the night, pleading for us to reconsider. I told him that such behavior would disturb the neighbors, but he gave no heed. Yusuke could not take it any longer. Knowing it's his father, he called the police on him, who promptly detained him and took him away.
That's it! I don't want my dad ever disrupting our lives again. I want nothing to do with my dad ever again.
Then, can we just block and delete your father's messages?
Yeah, go ahead. No need to contact him any longer. I'll do the same.
With that, our lives seemed to calm down. As for Yusuke's father, he was in dire circumstances. Things were not looking good for him. Apparently, his construction company was bought out by a major industrial conglomerate. Apparently, Mr. O'Hara's company had mismanaged the company finances. At first, he was allowed to continue his position at the company, but after his company finances were scrutinized, things changed for the worse. After a company audit, it was found that he embezzled a considerable amount of the company funds and committed tax fraud, lending him to being charged by the authorities. Yusuke's mother consoled him and was intending to start over from scratch, but rather than being grateful for her support, he blamed it all on his wife and even resorted to physical abuse. Yusuke's mother was at her wit's end. She could not take it any longer, and she finally filed for divorce.
He deserved it. I'm actually glad that Mom had finally come to her senses.
After the divorce went through, she rented an apartment near us and is now living alone. She stayed with that man for years, brought up Yusuke the best she could, so we intended to support her all the way. That's the least we can do for her.